Good afternoon, all the students. All the students, please pay attention. In the last session, we discussed sum number 9. We did sum number 9. Now, today we will do sum number 10, 11, and 12. All the students are requested to read question number 10. Please see your module. Please see your spiral. Page number 42. Please see page number 42. Question number 10. I am giving you 2 minutes to read. Thereafter, we will start with answer 10. Please read question number 10. Now, please see, I am explaining this question number 10. In this question number 10, the company has debentures of rupees 10 lakhs and the rate of interest is 10% and 5,000 equity shares are outstanding, means issued. The income tax rate of the company is 35% and the question is, if the EBIT is either 50,000 or 30,000 or 70,000, then calculate the EPS for all the three levels. The base level of EBIT, that is present EBIT, is 50,000 rupees, and if it reduces to either 30,000 or 70,000, what will be the new EPS? It means you have to calculate EPS for all the three levels. Now, please make 4 columns: particulars, then 3 columns for rupees. First is EBIT. Now, the EBIT level are 30,000, 50,000 and 70,000. From EBIT, deduct interest I. Debenture interest is 10% and 10% on 1 lakh rupees of debenture comes to 10,000. So, less interest on debenture 10,000 then EBT, earning before tax, is 20,000, then 40,000 and 60,000. Thereafter, income tax rate, it is 35%. So, less tax at the rate of 35%, it is 7,000, 14,000 and 21,000. So, after deducting the tax, earning after tax is 13,000, 26,000 and 39,000. Now, in this question, you can see that there is no preference dividend. So, the earning after tax itself becomes earning to equity shareholders. So, earning to equity shareholder is 13,000, 26,000 and 39,000. Now, divided by number of equity shares. Divided by number of equity share, which is 5,000. So, that implies EPS is equal to, in first case it is 2.6, 5.2 and 7.8. rupees 2.6, 5.2 and 7.8. All the students are requested to write down the answer. Now all the students are requested to ask if there is any query or doubt in this sum. I hope there is no doubt to any of the student. Now the students are requested to read question 11. Please read question 11. All the students, please make one correction in question number 11. Please see question number 11, second line. For expansion, please see the second line. For expansion, thereafter comma, it wants to raise. In the question it is written it raised. Make it wants to raise additional 10 lakh. It wants to raise additional 10 lakhs. Instead of it raised, please write down it wants to raise additional 10 lakhs. And the firm has 4 alternative plans as follows. Now read the whole question and thereafter we will discuss it. Now all the students, please pay attention. I am explaining question 11. Please see question 11. At present, this firm has equity or ordinary share capital of rupees 10 lakhs and the company wants to go for expansion program, and for that purpose the company wants to raise additional 10 lakhs rupees. But the additional 10 lakhs rupees the company can raise by 4 ways. There are 4 alternative plans A, B, C and D. According to plan A or alternative A, the company can raise additional 10 lakhs by issuing equity shares. In plan B, the company can raise 5 lakhs rupees by issuing equity share and other 5 lakhs rupees by issuing 5% debenture. It is written 50-50% means 5 lakhs and 5 lakhs. In plan C, the company can raise whole 10 lakhs by issuing debentures of 6%, and in plan D, the company can raise 5 lakhs by issuing equity shares and other 5 lakhs by issuing 5% preference shares. So these are the 4 plans or alternatives for raising additional 10 lakhs rupees. Now the question says that assume that the existing EBIT are rupees 1,20,000. Existing EBIT means the EBIT at present. EBIT at present means the EBIT before raising additional fund of 10 lakhs. So if at present, if by using equity capital of 10 lakhs, if the EBIT is 1,20,000, then after raising additional 10 lakhs, the EBIT will be double, that will be 2,40,000. So here please see that right now the EBIT is 1,20,000 and right now the company is using funds of 10 lakhs, and if the company raises another 10 lakhs rupees, so the total funds employed in the business will be 20 lakhs, old 10 plus new 10. So the EBIT will also be doubled. So after raising additional 10 lakhs, the EBIT will be 2,40,000 instead of 120. And the income tax rate of the company is 35%, and right now the outstanding equity share are 10,000. You can see that right now if the outstanding share or equity shares are 10,000 and if the equity share capital is 10 lakhs rupees, then one share is of rupees 100. So indirectly it is given that at present the one equity share is of rupees 100 multiplied by 10,000 equity share. So the total equity share capital right now is 10 lakhs rupees. So we can know from this that one share is of rupees 10, which is given in the question. Now further the question says that the company raises additional shares, raises additional fund by issuing the shares at rupees 100, and thereafter there are two questions: which financing plan the firm should select. So first question is, out of these 4 plans A, B, C and D, which plan the company should select? Now for that purpose, first write down one note and thereafter we will start with the sum. Please write down. The existing EBIT before raising additional capital, additional fund, the existing EBIT before raising additional fund is rupees 1,20,000. Hence, after raising additional fund of rupees 10 lakhs, comma, the new EBIT will be rupees 2,40,000. So the first note here is the existing EBIT is 1,20,000 and at present we have employed fund of 10 lakh rupees, and if we raise additional 10 lakh rupees, then after raising additional fund of 10 lakhs, the total fund will be 20 lakhs. So the EBIT will be 2,40,000 instead of 1,20,000 after raising the additional fund. Now, see, the question is written that which financing plan the firm should select. So, the firm should select that financing plan under which the EPS is maximum. So, first of all, we will find out what is the EPS of the company under all the 4 financial plans, and thereafter we will select that financial plan which gives maximum EPS to the company. Now, please draw 5 columns because there are 4 alternatives. So, draw 5 columns, 1 column for particulars and 4 columns for amount. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C and Plan D. Please make 5 columns, particulars, Plan A, Plan B, Plan C and Plan D. Now, first start with EBIT of rupees 2,40,000. Whether we select Plan A, Plan B or Plan C or Plan D, the total fund after raising additional capital will be 20 lakhs. So, the EBIT will be 2,40,000 under all the plan. Now, from this EBIT deduct interest I, interest on debenture. Now, you can see that in Plan A, the old capital is 10 lakhs which is through equity and the new capital is also through equity. So, in Plan A there will not be any interest because there is no debt. So, here interest on debenture will be nil because old 10 is equity and new 10 is also equity. In Plan B, you can see that debentures of 5 lakhs rupees are issued and interest rate is 5%. So, 5% of 5 lakhs means 25,000. So, in Plan B, the debenture interest will be 25,000. It is 5% of 5 lakhs. In Plan C, the old capital will be same which is equity capital, but the new additional 10 or new fund is raised by issuing debentures. So, on 10 lakhs rupees of debentures at the rate of 6%, the interest will be 60,000. And in Plan D, there will not be any interest because the old capital is equity capital and the new capital is 5 lakhs equity and 5 lakhs preference. So, no interest will be there in Plan D. So, interest will come only under Plan A and Plan B and Plan C. No interest under Plan A and D. Now, deduct this interest. The resultant figure will be 2,40,000, then 2,15,000, 1,80,000 and 2,40,000. This is your EBT, earning before tax. Now from this deduct 35% tax. So less tax at the rate of 35%. Please deduct tax at the rate of 35%. So at the rate of 35%, it comes to 84,000. Then 75,250. Then next is 63,000, and the last one is 84,000. Now it will give you earning after tax, and it will be 1,56,000 1,39,750 and 1,17,000, and last one is 1,56,000. So this is your earning after tax. Now in this question you can see that in plan D there is preference share capital, so preference dividend will come. So after this EAT deduct less preference dividend. Now preference dividend will come only in plan D, because in plan A, B and C there is no preference share capital. So here it will be nil in first three column, and in plan D preference dividend will be 25,000, which is 5% of 5 lakhs. Now deduct this, you will get earning available to equity shareholder. It is 1,56,000, 1,39,750, 1,17,000 and 1,31,000. So this is earning to equity shareholders. Now divide this earning available to equity shareholder by number of equity shares. So divided by number of equity shares. Now when you take the number of equity share, you should take old equity share plus new equity share both. In case of all the four alternative, the old equity shares are 10,000, but the number of new equity share means equity share issued for additional fund, that is differing. In first alternative, the old equity share are 10 lakhs and new equity share is also old equity share is 10,000 and the new equity share is also 10,000. So total number of equity share will be 20,000. But in plan B, you can see that the additional fund 5 lakhs is raised by equity and other 5 lakhs is raised by debenture. So the new equity share is only 5,000. So old 10,000 plus new 5,000, so total 15,000 equity share in plan B. Same way in plan C, you can see that the new fund is raised totally by issuing debentures, so no new equity shares are issued. So all the equity shares are the old equity share, that is old 10,000 plus new is 0, so 10 plus 0 is 10. And in case of plan D, you can see that only equity share of 5 lakhs are issued, so new 5,000 equity share plus old 10,000. So total equity share will be 15,000. Now divide the earning available to equity shareholder by number of equity share, it will give you EPS. So EPS will be, in first case, it will be 1,56,000 divided by 20,000, that is rupees 7.80. In case of second case, it will be 1,39,750 divided by 15,000 is equal to 9.32. In third case, it will be 11.70, and in fourth case, it will be 1,31,000 divided by 15,000 rupees, 15,000 shares. So it is 8.73. So maximum EPS comes in plan C. All the students are requested to write down. Now see the question. The question is which financing plan the firm should select. So the answer will be the firm should select financing plan C because it gives maximum EPS of rupees 11.70. So please write down the conclusion or decision. The firm should select financing plan C because it gives maximum EPS of rupees 11.70, maximum EPS of rupees 11.70. The firm should select financing plan C because it gives maximum EPS of rupees 11.70. Now by this we finish part 1 of question 11. Now in question 11 there is another question. It says that also calculate financial break-even point. Now before we calculate financial break-even point, students must know what is meaning of operating break-even point and what is meaning of financial break-even point. Now students are requested to first write down meaning of operating break-even point and meaning of financial break-even point. All the students please write down what is operating break-even point and financial break-even point. First I am explaining operating break-even point, that is BEP. Operating BEP. Operating BEP or break-even point is that level, operating BEP is that level of sales operating BEP is that level of sales. Sales means either sales in rupees or sales in units. Operating BEP is that level of sales where the operating profit is called EBIT, becomes 0. So operating break-even point is that level of sales of any organization where the operating profit or EBIT becomes 0. Means that level of sales where the EBIT becomes 0 is called operating break-even point, and this operating break-even point is expressed in either sales in rupees or it is expressed in sales in units. Students, please write it down. Operating break-even point is that level of sales where the operating profit or EBIT becomes 0. Now I am explaining it. Please see here. This operating break-even point has a relation with sales level. It means the sales level of the company should be such that from sales, if you calculate EBIT, then EBIT should become 0. At any sales level, if the EBIT is not 0, then you can say that that sales level is not a operating BEP. Suppose if I take sales of say rupees 10 lakhs, and if I find my operating profit or EBIT, and suppose EBIT comes to say 2 lakhs. This 2 lakhs is EBIT, it means it is not 0. It means this level of sales, that is 10 lakhs, is not my operating break-even point. So operating break-even point is that level of sales where the EBIT becomes 0. Now suppose I take a sales level of 8 lakh rupees and the EBIT becomes nil. Then I can say that 8 lakh rupees is my operating break-even point because at this level of sales my EBIT becomes 0. Now the students may ask if they have any doubt in the meaning of this operating BEP. Otherwise we will go for meaning of financial BEP. Now please write down meaning of financial break-even point. Financial break-even point or BEP. Financial break-even point or BEP is that level of EBIT where EPS becomes 0. So the definition is financial break-even point indicates your level of EBIT so that the EPS becomes 0. It means your level of EBIT or the amount of EBIT in rupees should be such an amount that from EBIT, if you make calculation up to EPS, then EPS becomes 0. For example, in this sum you can see when we take EBIT of 2,40,000 in plan A, our EPS is 7.80. So we can say that this 2,40,000 is not our financial BEP. Same way, in case of plan B, C and D, the EPS is not coming to 0. Then we can say that in plan A, B, C and D, the EBIT level is not the operating break-even point, because at this level of EBIT, the EPS is not coming to 0. So financial BEP indicates the level of EBIT where the EPS is 0. At any level of EBIT, if the EPS becomes 0, then you can say that that level of EBIT is financial break-even point. Now, how to calculate financial break-even point? It means what should be the amount of EBIT so that the EPS becomes 0. For that, the formula is please write on the formula of financial BP. Financial break-even point is equal to interest plus preference dividend upon 1 minus T. So, interest should be taken separate outside the bracket, interest plus preference dividend upon 1 minus T, where T is equal to income tax rate of the company. T is equal to income tax rate of the company. Now, if you will see the question, it is written also calculate financial break-even point. Now, under all the 4 plan, we will calculate this financial break-even point by using this formula. So, financial BP, please write down financial BP of plan A is equal to, you can see that in plan A the interest is 0. So, 0 plus, you can also see that in plan A the preference dividend is 0. So, 0 plus 0 upon 1 minus T is equal to 0. Same way in plan B, put the figures. Interest in plan B, the interest is 25,000. So, 25,000 plus preference dividend in plan B, you can see that preference dividend is 0. So, 0 upon 1 minus T, that is 25,000. Then in plan C, interest, you can see it is 60,000. So, 60,000 plus preference dividend is 0. So, 60,000 plus 0 upon 1 minus T, that is 60,000. And in plan D, interest is 0. So, 0 plus preference dividend is 25,000. So, 0 plus 25,000 minus upon 1 minus T. So, 1 minus 0.35. The income tax rate is 35%, that is 0.35. Now, divide 25,000 by 0.65. So, it is 38,462. So, these are the financial break-even point of all the 4 plans. Students are requested to write down financial BP of all these 4 plans. So, in this sum, first we have found out EPS, and on the basis of EPS, plan C is the best one because here the EPS is maximum. Then we discussed what is meaning of operating break-even point and financial break-even point, and then we found financial BP of all the 4 plans. Now, the students are requested to ask if they have any doubt. I hope there is no doubt to any of the students. So the students are requested to read question number 12. All the students, please read question number 12. I am giving you 2 minutes to read it. Now all the students, please pay attention. This question number 12 is just like question number 6. We have done question number 6, only the figures are different, otherwise the method is same. Here in question number 12, you are given 3 companies A, B and C, and you are given variable expense to sales ratio, then interest, degree of operating leverage, degree of financial leverage and income tax rate of all the 3 companies. Now on the basis of this, question A asks you to prepare income statement, but to prepare income statement of these 3 companies, first of all you will have to find out sales of all these 3 companies, and thereafter you have to prepare income statement of all the 3 companies. So first we will find out the sales of all the 3 companies by doing working note, and thereafter income statement. In question B, you have to comment on the financial position and structure of these 3 companies. That we will do after doing question A. So please write down question A or answer A in answer 12A. Now for this purpose, make 4 columns, 1 column for particulars and 3 columns for 3 companies A, B and C. Now to find out sales of these 3 companies, first we will find out EBIT of these 3 companies by making use of the degree of financial leverage given to us. So first write down point number 1, degree of financial leverage, and the formula is EBIT upon EBT, but instead of EBT we can write EBIT minus I. So the degree of financial leverage becomes EBIT upon EBIT minus I. Now in this equation put the figures for company A. In company A you can see that the financial leverage is 3 and interest is 200. So 3 is equal to EBIT upon EBIT minus 200. Now, if you will do cross multiplication, then you will find that that implies EBIT is equal to rupees 300. Here I am doing the cross multiplication for company A, 3 EBIT minus 600 is equal to EBIT. That implies 2 EBIT is equal to 600. That implies EBIT is equal to 300. So, do the cross multiplication and find out EBIT of company A. It will come to 200. Now, in the same way, we can find out EBIT for company B and C. Now, put data in column of company B. Here the degree of financial leverage is 4 and interest is 3. So, 4 is equal to EBIT upon EBIT minus 300. Now, again do cross multiplication, then you will get EBIT of 400. So, that implies EBIT is equal to 400 in company B. Now, in company C, the financial leverage is 2 and interest is 1000. So, 2 is equal to EBIT upon EBIT minus 1000. That implies EBIT is equal to 2000. So, by this the EBIT of all the three companies found out. It is 300, 400 and 2000. Now, by making use of this EBIT found out and the degree of operating leverage given in the question, we can find out contribution. Now, use the formula of degree of operating leverage. Right on. Point number 2, degree of operating leverage is equal to contribution upon EBIT. Now, in company A column, you can see that degree of operating leverage is 5. So, 5 is equal to, put the figures in column A, 5 is equal to contribution upon EBIT, which is 300. That implies contribution is equal to, now do the cross multiplication, contribution is equal to 1500. Same way in company B, degree of operating leverage is 6. So, 6 is equal to contribution upon 400. That implies contribution is equal to 2400. And in company C, you can see the degree of operating leverage is 2. So, 2 is equal to contribution upon 2000. That implies contribution is equal to 4000. Now, these answers are right now in rupees. So, contribution in case of company is rupees 1500, then rupees 2500 and rupees 4000. Now, please see the question. Point in the question, the first row, the variable cost to sales ratio is given. In case of company A, the variable cost is 66.67% of sales. So, the contribution to sales ratio will be 33.33%. So, next is contribution to sales ratio in percentage. In case of company A, if the variable cost is 66.67%, then the contribution will be 33.33% of sales. Same way in company B, you can see that variable cost to sales is 75%, so contribution will be 25% of sales, and in company C, variable cost is 50% of sales, so contribution will be 50% of sales. Now, if you will see column point number 2 and 3, in point number 2 we have found out contribution in rupees, and in point number 3 it is contribution is certain percentage of sales. Now compare these two. If you will see column A, this rupees 1500 is 33%, 33.33% of sales, that is one third of sales. So sales will be 3 times, that is rupees 4500. Same way, in case of company B, this 2400 rupees is 25% of sales, so sales will be 4 times of 2400, that is 9600. And in case of company C, this 4000 rupees of contribution is 50% of sales, means half of sales, so sales will be rupees 8000. So by this we have found out sales of all the 3 companies. It comes to 4500, 9600 and 8000. Now please write it down, and thereafter we will prepare income statement. Now, students may ask if they have any doubt in this calculation. I think there is no doubt. Now, please prepare income statement. For income statement, make 4 columns, particulars, and 3 columns for 3 companies. Please make 4 columns, particulars, and 3 columns for company A, B and C. Now first start with sales. Sales we have found out in working note, and it is 4500, 9600 and 8000. From sales deduct variable cost. Now variable cost percent is given. In company it is 2/3, that is 66.67%, so it is 3000. In company B, variable cost is 75%, So it comes to 7,200, and in case of company C it is 50%, so 4,000. Now deduct this 3, it will give you contribution. So contribution is 1,500, then 2,400 and 4,000. Thereafter deduct fixed operating cost, but we do not have fixed operating cost, it is not given the question. So keep the space blank. After deducting fixed operating cost, the resultant figure is EBIT, and that EBIT we have already found out in working note. So EBIT is 300, 400 and 2000. It is 300, 400 and 2000. Now you can see that the difference between contribution and EBIT is fixed cost. So the fixed operating cost will be the balancing figure. It will be the difference between contribution and EBIT. So in case of company A, it will be 1,200, then it will be 2,000 and 2,000. So fixed operating cost in case of company A is 1,200, company B and C it is 2,000. Now from EBIT deduct I or interest. So minus interest. Interest is 200, 300 and 1,000. So the EBT, earning before tax, comes to 100, 100 and 1,000. In the question, the income tax rate is 35%. So minus tax at the rate of 35%, it is 35, 35 and 350. So the earning after tax comes to 65, 65 and 650. So we are preparing income statement only up to earning after tax. If the number of equity shares would have been given, you can find out even EPS. So here we close the income statement. The EAT or earning after tax comes to 65, 65 and 650. So by this we finish answer A of question 12. Students are requested to write it down. I hope no student has any doubt. If there is any doubt, please ask. Now, please see question 12b. You have to comment on the financial position and structure of these companies, means these three companies A, B and C. Students are requested to write down the comment on the financial structure of these three companies A, B and C. But before we write, please see in this question, if you will see company A, please see in case of company A, B and C, the degree of operating leverage and the degree of financial leverage both are lowest in case of company C. You can see that it is 2 and 2. Please see question 12. The degree of operating leverage as well as degree of financial leverage, it is lowest in case of company C. In case of company A, it is little bit higher than C. You can see that in case of company A, the operating leverage and financial leverage are higher than company C. But in case of company B, the operating leverage and financial leverage are highest. So, in case of company C, it is lowest. In case of company A, it is little bit higher, and in case of company B, it is highest. So, we can say that the operating risk as well as financial risk both are lowest in company C, and operating risk and financial risk both are little bit higher in company A, and they are highest in company B. So, the financial risk and operating risk has a direct relation with the degree of operating and financial leverage. So, please write down comment answer B 12B. The degree of operating leverage and degree of financial leverage are lowest in company C, comma, higher in A and highest in B. They are lowest in company C, little bit higher in company A and highest in company B. So, the operating risk and financial risk both are lowest in company C, higher in company A and highest in company B. Students, please write down this comment. The degree of operating and financial leverage are lowest in company C, they are little bit higher in A and highest in B, and therefore, the operating risk and financial risk both are lowest in company C, little bit higher in company A and highest in company B. Now, by this we finish question number 12. Now, students are requested to ask if they have any doubt or query. The students are requested to ask if there is any query. I think there is no query to any of the students. Now there is still 5 minutes. So we can start with question 13. All the students are requested to read question 13. Today I will explain it, and tomorrow we will do answer 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So tomorrow we will finish this chapter. Now the students are requested to read question 13. All the students, please see, all the students, please see, today we will not do this question 13. We will do this question 13 tomorrow because it is a lengthy question and the time will not permit. So I wish a good day to all of you. Thank you. Tomorrow we will start with question 13. Thank you.